Trying to reconnect. Okay, now says live.
Okay, so we are live again with Christina Casanova, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock in eastern part of US. So we will try to do these videos more often, so this is an attempt, trying to understand from experiences of Christina in her life and get some understanding of life through her. So today's question I will phrase this way. Over a period of years, Christina, I have seen you using a very revolutionary approach or paradigm shift sort of approach in dealing with any kind of conflict, and let's just focus on couples conflict or couples misunderstandings. So being brought up in India, this was my approach, which no one taught me. I just learned it just growing up, that whenever there is a conflict, whenever there is a misunderstanding and two people say, they are in relationship and one says this, he or she doesn't do this for me, the other says he or she doesn't do this for me, the way I start thinking is, who is right and who is wrong, right? We understand from them their point of views and say, okay, no, you are right and you are wrong and you need to become this to become right? This is how I started thinking. To resolve any conflict, and let's focus on couples today, and couples comes and says this, and we say this is right and this is wrong. But when I saw you doing this, it was totally a paradigm change. It was like, when I saw you, you weren't thinking that way, that who is right, who is wrong. You were thinking, when the person speaks, what of his needs are not met, right? Is that right?
Yes, totally correct.
So tell us about this approach, which I think is a very beneficial approach to understand in a conflict, how to think about needs and not think about right and wrong.
Okay. So one thing I learned long time ago with a great teacher of mine, Gary David and Mary Abrams, two teachers of mine, and especially Gary David, who said to me very strongly, you need to learn to live beyond right and wrong. And it took me a while to really understand what he meant. But there is a place beyond right and wrong. And I also in my life said, well, he's right, she's wrong. But if you go that way, there is a winner and a loser always, right?
Yep.
And win, and then you don't win. So how can a marriage go forward with winners and losers? I win this time, you lose this time. So I have, another great teacher of mine, Marshall Rosenberg, who died about 3-4 years ago, and he has the Institute of Nonviolent Communication, taught me how to listen not to the arguments. In an argument, you could never win. Who's right, who's wrong? You could go to court and bring a whole bunch of papers, right? Oh, she did this, she did that, they do this. That's what judges do. They say you're right, you're wrong. But there is another way to look at humans that has more love in it and is even deeper. Because when people are unhappy or they have any issue, they're angry, sad, distressed, disgusted, shamed, any of the other affects, is because it points to the need. There is a need that has not been met. So if we could find what is the need that I have in me that's not being met, personally, we have learned, or at least I have learned, not to blame it on the other. Right? Like suppose I have a need and I don't even know I have this need to be heard. And so that day, I sit with my husband, I want to tell him something, and he doesn't hear me. And then I get very angry. I'm right, you're wrong. But the truth is that I have a need to be heard, and at that moment, that need was not met. So if I am a child, I will throw a tantrum. Ooh, listen to me, whatever. In my case, in the culture I was brought up, and at the time in the 1940s and 50s, parents didn't listen to the kids. So I never got listened to that well by my mom or dad. And so I always have that need, and I bring it to the world all the time. And if somebody doesn't listen to me, I still feel like a little tingling of sadness or stress. But now I know it's my need, and just because I have that need, it doesn't mean the world has to listen to me. Does that make sense?
So now, if a couple starts thinking that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll take practice. So throw away the right and wrong, and start thinking about need every time we feel not good, right?
Yeah.
So then there will be, don't we have a lot of constraints, like even morality of this word puts up one constraint, my religion throws up another constraint. In anything I want to do and say, right now I just want to go somewhere to some place which is restricted from my morals of my society or my religion. How would you handle that?
Well, I have handled that. And the most important thing for me in my journey has been to understand fully what I need. Because if we don't, then it's hard to think of morality or religion, right? And that's in education, because a lot of people in our society really, they don't know what they need. I mean, part of my job has been to support people understanding what they need. It's not taught in schools, right? We don't know why we're angry, sad, or whatever. So if I understand what I need, it doesn't mean I have to run and do it right away. Does that make sense? That's just the fact that I understand my need is 80%. And life means that suppose I need touch, I'm lonely, I need somebody to hug, I have nobody. Just knowing that gives me a sense of peace. Oh, I know why I'm sad, because I need touch. So, and there's nobody here, right, at this moment. So, you know what? Let me caress myself. Let me touch my face with my hands. Let me think it's my mother who's doing it. And then if I can, I'll go to a massage. Or next time, so that fulfills my need, right? Now, we have to really be careful to understand what's an impulse and a need. Because sometimes we are so angry, I feel like killing somebody, right? Or hitting them.
Yeah, right.
That's an impulse, that's not a need. So the need is, what is going on with me that I am so angry? What do I need? Right? And an impulse is different. There are impulses that we need to manage so that we live in a society. Does that make sense?
So need is for me, right? That's how I see. Like suppose I say to my partner, I hate you, and I'm not happy with you, and I need 5 more girls in my life, right?
Right.
Is that a need, or is that an impulse?
The need would be, are you needing intimacy? Are you needing, the needs are different. So in the case you give me, I would say to you, are you needing more intimacy? Are you needing more sex? Are you needing more woman companionship? Are you, what are you needing that drives that impulse?
Okay.
Maybe what you need is you're bored, or you need something interesting, and it may not have anything to do with all that.
Yeah.
Because maybe you're very, you just need something interesting. You've been working too hard and everything is the same, and you need something different.
Yeah.
And if you were, for example, to go to a show, or to see a great opera or a great work of art, or read some incredible poem, or you went jogging and come back, or went swimming like I do and come back, and whatever it is, that that impulse is no longer there, because I fulfill a need to move, or to be interested in something, or to laugh.
So intimacy is a need, sex is a need, entertainment is a need, having fun is a need.
Sex is not. Sex is not a need.
Sex is not a need. Okay.
You can live without sex.
So sex is a tool to get to a need of intimacy, or need of entertainment, or need of fun.
You could have intimacy without sex also. And you could, well, maybe sex is an impulse. It's a very important impulse, but it's not a need that without that you cannot live. Does that make sense?
I thought doesn't Marsha Rosenberg list sex as one of the needs? I don't know. I thought so.
I have never seen it as sex.
Okay.
And if you want a whole, in fact, I have a paper here with some of the needs, because when I teach psychology, I always carry the values and needs of people. So there is a need to be heard. A need to belong is number one. That trumps all the other needs. Need to belong. Okay? The need to be accepted. The need to be appreciated. The need to be seen. The need to be heard. The need to be held. Those are very, very important needs that all humans have. So the need to have sex, I don't know. A young child doesn't have a need to have sex, and maybe an older person also has passed that, that developmental, stage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But they can be very happy and fulfilled without that. You need shelter, and food and belonging are the basic needs. Without food you die. Without water you die. Without shelter, if it's very cold, you die. And in the ancient parts, without belonging you also die. Like when animals, if you have the gorillas and one of them, a little baby, gets lost, they will die in the wild. So it's really printed in us in in very deep ways that need to belong.
So these things don't get threatened, or do they? I don't know. If we are in conflict with our partner, right? How is such fundamental things are getting threatened? If I have a conflict with my partner on, say, it started with, should we buy a home or not, right?
Right.
Says we should buy a home. Husband says no, we shouldn't buy a home, and or many other little things. Do this way, that way. Life, they keep on getting on conflict. Now, how do we see these needs to belong or need to be held, or they are not at stake in those issues?
Yes, they all are. I mean, I have spoken with happily married people, and they said that their needs in a couple, if they're met 20% of the time, they're pretty happy themselves. Can you imagine? So if we expect our partner to meet 90% of our needs, we are in deep trouble.
Say that again?
Sometimes people feel or request that their partners fulfill 80% of their needs, and sometimes that doesn't work. I mean, when I have spoken to very high-level consciousness people, and I have asked them, they all said they have conflict with their partners to begin with. This idea that is happily ever after is not real. The conflict always comes because we have affect systems and we have things. And if we can get to a level in which we can be honest about our needs and communicate with our partners with respect, and work to not you. That's why the right and wrong doesn't help. Not that you're right and wrong, is that we together need to solve this problem, then brings another way of relating to each other. Knowing how to take time for yourself and how to be together and how to be separate is a different thing.
I see Pallavi and Manoj are online. So if you have any comments, question, please use the comments area. Okay, Christina. So no other comments. We'll continue this. We'll try to do this more often.
Thank you. It's really it fulfills my need of intimacy. It fulfills my need of friendship, belonging, having fun, my need to be sharing, my social need. So lots of needs.
Okay. The other thing I want to tell you is that paper, you said you have a paper which has all the needs. Can you share it with me and I'll share it in the comments of it?
Okay, so it's easy. Go to Nonviolent Communication, Marshall Rosenberg, and look for the needs, values and needs. It's a whole paper, but I'll send you a copy. But anybody can have it in the website.
Okay, yeah, no. I will send that link. Yeah, I find it. Yeah.
Okay, because it's a link from the website, and it lists all the values and needs for everybody to see.
And I opened it, and interestingly, it says sexual expression is a need.
Ah, there you go. See? Of course. Well, I guess it's a need.
Word sexual expression instead of sex.
Well, that's a very different thing.
Yeah.
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 Because the expression can take many forms. Maybe that's what I needed to think this through a lot more. So sexual expression can be in many ways. You could dance, you could sing. If you ever see an opera and look at the singing, the longing for sex and love, all of that are expressions. So, great.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pallavi and Manoj, for joining in. Please say your comments. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Manoj has a comment. He has a comment. He says, question, when does one need to turn to self-partnering?
Self-partnering.
He made that comment before that in the chat when you were explaining about one touches himself, fulfills one's need for touch.
Yeah.
He made the word self-partnering, and now he's saying, when does one need to turn to self-partnering?
When you need it.
Okay.
When you feel lonely and I touch myself all the time because the skin is an organ of perception. And I touch myself just feeling my hand on my skin. And it's just wonderful. But you do it presently, and you appreciate that your face is your hand is holding the skin, and the skin of your face is touching your hand. That alone can give you a sense of belonging, a sense of you being alive. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to do it 5 minutes a day. You do it. We need to relate in this planet. So relating to yourself is essential. And knowing who you are and knowing what you need. If we did that more and more and more, we'll have less conflict because we don't project it outside of ourselves.
Okay. Pallavi has another interesting question. It's on the point when you were saying that even in happy couples, even you said 80% of the needs are not met, 20% are met, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she has an interesting question. She says, is there a certain person that is acceptable?
Is it a certain person that is
a certain percentage of the needs being met that's being acceptable in marriage?
According to whom?
According to the person who is asking.
Yeah, there is no outside regulation on that. If you can live relatively happy and in partnership in a peaceful way, and you see you're learning together, and you're not stuck in misery or repressed or unhappy, it's up to you. There are people who live miserable lives together, but they keep on having miserable lives. I look at them and I say, wow, they're suffering a lot, but for them it's okay.
Also, isn't there something like, when you say happy couples where 20% needs are met, but at the same time...
By each other I met. And the rest you meet by yourself.
Yeah. And also, I think it gives a sense of fulfillment when other person can actually look at your needs but may not satisfy them.
Exactly.
So when you say those happy couples in which 20% of the needs are being met by the partner, the other person is actually looking at you and saying, yeah, you have this 80% which is unfulfilled, but you can fulfill in other ways. So the bond still goes on.
Yeah, the bond between two adults goes on because I'm not being used and I'm not using the other person to fulfill my needs. But I am sharing with the person, I'm learning with the person. I have a friend and a person that I can be myself with, right?
Yeah.
And from my fullness I can give. I can contribute to the marriage. I'm not depleting the other person and give me what I need kind of thing.
Hmm. Interesting.
Oh, I see you're going to have more questions next time.
Oh yes, yes. Then we'll make it. If this time works, we'll do it Sunday morning, 11 o'clock.
Okay,
Right?
except for this Sunday, because I'm going to Mexico for a wonderful workshop, also with an amazing teacher. So I will learn a lot more about needs and fulfillment, and I'll share it with you when I come back. So we'll take a pause this coming Sunday.
Okay. All right.
Okay, my dear, it was fun, and everybody who is looking at this and participating, thank you so much also.
All right. Thank you so much.
Haribol. Haribol? I'm glad you called because now you have to help me turn this off. Now, how do I do this? Live. I put, and then that's it. And then it says 2704. That must be the. Okay. So I think that's it. I'm still live, and so how do I end it? Hold on, one.
What does it have on your screen? Has it?
I'm looking at my desk and my cup. Let's.
On your iPad. What's on your iPad? And on the iPad is your camera, and below the camera, what all is there? No, on the iPad, what's on?
Okay, there is a little on the left side. There is a white little sign. Oh, now it's an X. I don't know if that means anything. And it says live, and then there are the. And I see my picture at the end. Classical pop. No filter. And then there is a what? Undo. I guess crayons. It says live and then a night 2, camera 2, I guess that's what it is.
Okay, so those are all for doing the live. That doesn't have an end button or close button or save button or something.
A button that's round with an X at the top
Yeah, do that.
left.
That.
Huh?
Yeah, do that.
Is that too close? It was, or too open?
It's still not closed.
Well, how would I know it's closed?
I would know it. I'm seeing you live still on Facebook.
Oh, you would know it. Okay.
Just turn it off. You can turn the iPad off.
Okay, hold on a second. AirDrop.